Welcome back, everybody. If you were here for the beginning of the video yesterday, you saw that it got cut off pretty early, but I'm going to go ahead and just write down everything that I had written down. I'm just going to work through it really quick on this video. I had a little bit of pushback on the stuff that I've been showing so far. A lot of people are actually they seem to be really upset. I've been getting banned from a couple of Facebook groups. So I'm just trying to figure out what the best way to do this is. I know I have to go somewhere and provide value, but this is what I see being the most valuable, because if you guys saw the beginning of the video yesterday, you realize this guy was not making a crap ton of profit. You know, with the amount he was charging, he was making about $510, and that's where we were at. We're about to show the difference between charging with that and then charging with an appropriate coding system. So here's what he was doing, correct? He was just charging polish plus coding, including prep. He was charging $12.50 across the board. $14 to 15 jobs per month. Averaging $18,000. So 50 per job. So I'm gonna get back down in a minute because it just makes it easier to keep writing. I know the handwriting's a little bit hard to read, but if you guys are listening along, then it'll be a little bit easier. I know the headphones do really good about picking up on the sound, so that's made me really grateful to have these things. It makes it a lot easier to not have to be yelling or projecting my voice across the room so the phone will be able to pick it up, because here then it sounds shitty. But here's a pricing strategy that I learned, correct? It was a little bit different. One of the little things that I got in pushback was I priced it saying $1,000 for the install, including prep. And I feel like people actually like to see this a little bit more broken down, so it's actually $800 for the coding, and then $200 for the prep. Because sometimes these cars come in and they're crapped out, you know. I mean, it takes a while to get them prepped up, even if it's just the outside. So yeah, it's $1,000 just to put the coating on and to prep it. Right there. That way, I just want to write that down, that way you guys can see what that was actually coming from. But I'm gonna go ahead and erase it, that way I have room for everything else. I'm gonna rewrite that because that came out of the blue. A lot of people say a polishing step, this part of the prep, because you have to clean up the paint to make it look good. Part of the training for a lot of these people that do installations is that you do have to be doing the polishing before you install it, but you don't need to do it to install a coating. You can install a coating over scratched up paint. It's not gonna look the best, but you're able to do it. And to price it like this, somebody can tell you, okay, I don't want the polish, I just want the install. You just charge them $1,000, get the car in, get it washed off, get it, you know, coat it up, and then send it back out the door within like 2 to 3 hours. So that would be $1,000 within that 2 to 3 hours. That's good money, but you still have to be able to charge that, because a coating bottle is going to cost you about $160 on average. You know, 80 to $160. Just to be fair, that's what it's going to cost you. So you have to be able to charge that much money. Okay, I'm gonna leave that up there. I'm gonna write it down. I'm gonna leave it up there for a second. Right? So that's what we would charge, just throw the coating on there. Then the next part of the strategy, again, this is a little bit different for what I had seen, but this guy was doing about 300, I think, for this polishing step. I said, let's start out at 400. And originally I had this at 450, but I was like, yeah, we can pull it back. and this is for the polishing. This works for a 2-door coupe. This is another thing that I got pushback on. Everybody was like, your prices are too separate. You should price it just this one person. This 2-door coupe is not much different from a sedan, and you shouldn't be charging different. Like, no, bro. Don't sit here and nickel and dime how to price, because you have to understand everything is different. Every vehicle is different. And some coupes are actually going to be more expensive than this outdoor. So the corners, the curves that they have, it's going to be harder to get those things. It's going to be more tedious. It's going to take more time. So you have to account for that. I'm just going to write everything else down. So this is how the entire thing starts out. And I'm going to go ahead and erase the top, that way I can start writing up there what these things come out to. So here's what we're doing, right? We have $1,000 for prepping the paint, which means you wash out the paint, take off the bugs, take off any extra tar, any extra stuff on the paint, and then you wash it, and then you do your alcohol spray, Jesus, your IPC. Isopropyl alcohol, Jesus, I hate that. So you do your decontamination of the vehicle, you do your wash of the vehicle, you do your IPC, and then you throw the coating on, $1,000. If they want you to do a polish before you do the separate rinse and the IPC, and then install the coating, then it's an extra $400 right off the bat, right? Now, if you have extra steps, paint correction, which means if these guys are coming in, right, and they have a car that's been run through the car wash and it's gonna need some heavy correction because the paint's harder, and you're gonna have to do 3 steps. You're gonna have to do a wool pad with a heavy cut, then you're gonna have to do a medium pad with a fine cut before you do your polish, right? So that's 2 extra steps. At $300, which equals $600. Right, so that's basically just how you would calculate it. You have to do 2 additional steps, an additional $600. Now, if you have a coating that you can layer things like, I know this guy uses TMR by DPZ. You can layer Kamikaze, something that we're looking into. You can layer some other products like Ceramic Pro can be layered, System X can be layered. There's multiple different coatings out there that give you the ability to layer, but you definitely want to find something that allows you to do at least 2 to 3 layers. That way you can actually offer that as part of the coating, because sometimes that adds extra gloss, it adds extra protection depending on what coating you're using. And some people might be interested in getting that. It's something that I hate about it, what everybody was saying with the pricing. It's like, yeah, a lot of people are looking for a good deal. They're looking for something that they can get their car in and out, but that's if you're catering to the average consumer. You know, you have to understand the kind of clientele that you're catering to. Us personally at the shop, we want to cater to the people that don't care about the money. You know, the money's no object kind of people, the people that have 50, 60 cars in a car collection, and they just want to bring them all through the shop. Maybe they want to get our body package, which comes out to $1,650 for a 2-door coupe out the door, and that includes the polishing step and the coating. And it might even include an extra step depending on how much work we have that month. But yeah, we have a lot of people that, like I said in a comment before, we have about 4 or 5 clients that just have collection of cars and they're just bringing them all through like the steady pace, and hopefully they'll keep coming through. You know, knock on wood. Don't want to make any of that go away for us, but That's the kind of people we want to take care of. We want to take care of people that care about their vehicles and don't care about the money. That's literally the mentality. We care about the car, we don't care about the money. Just do what you gotta do and give us what we're wanting. But we also don't just stop at that one package. We have one package that's gonna start out at $1,650. Then we're gonna go one that has $2,500, which includes layering and extra polishing steps. And then we're gonna do one that includes, a bunch of the extra stuff, engine bay, polishing, all that crap. And that one's gonna be more than 5,000. So you really have to understand, you got to be able to cater to your different clientele. You got to understand what clientele you're catering to, because there's also a way to scale a business without charging these high-end numbers. But that's what you have to do whenever you're working with a company like Walmart or Costco or something like that. Those companies are streamlined to be low in cost and just get everything in a door and then out the other side for the cheapest amount of money. And some people are looking for that. Some people want the cheapest amount, but not everybody does. People want to pay. They want to buy great deals. They don't really want to spend or buy the cheapest stuff. They just want to buy the best deal, the thing that provides the most value for them. So an example that I just heard from this recently from Alex Ramosi, one of the guys that I follow for all the business coaching and stuff like that, is if you took a Ferrari, a legitimate Ferrari, right, and you went out on the street and you told people, I will give you this car for $10,000. And it was a pristine Ferrari, engine works, no lights are going off, brand new tires, spanking brand new car. And you tell somebody, I will give you this car for $10,000. And if they honestly believe that you were gonna get that car, they would go and start calling up they would start calling up the bank, they would start calling up family and friends, they would start calling up whoever they needed to be able to get the $10,000 to give you so that they could get that car, because they know the car is worth a lot more than that. So if people can see the value, they're willing to buy. And this is how we break it down. Because a lot of people, they ask, okay, can you give me an itemized report of how much you're charging? And whenever you're low in detail, you don't understand this. But once you've actually taken into account your costs, you've taken into account, how much you're spending, how much you're able to clear, you're trying to clear your taxes and all that stuff, you're trying to become a more serious business, this is what you have to look at. And I'm doing this because this is the point where we're at right now. And I'm showing all the stuff that it took to get to where I'm at now. Okay, that's information that I'm trying to allocate to everybody. It's not information of like, oh yeah guys, look at me, I'm gonna make you rich in 24 hours. No, we're not even allowed to sell that with the program that I'm using to sell my course. Literally, they have a checking list where it's like, if you're advertising that you're gonna be a millionaire within 45 days, or you're gonna lose 100 pounds in 14 days, like they don't let you advertise that. And I'm not willing to advertise it because that's not what I want to provide. I want to provide long-term financial stability for people. And this is how you provide that for a freaking detail shop, by making sure that your stuff is itemized. And you understand that whenever you're doing this extra step of paint correction, yeah, maybe it doesn't cost you extra money, but it costs you extra time. Now we just talked about bringing this 2-door coupe in right here and getting it prepped and coated within 2 to 3 hours. So if you're spending an extra 2 to 3 hours doing a step like a paint correction step, and you're doing it for $300, you're actually losing $700 that you can make from just bringing another car, washing it, prepping it, and getting it out the door after it's coated. You know what I mean? You're losing money. You're losing $700 in the time that you're allocating to do this extra step. So you have to charge for it, even if there is no additional material cost, because now there's a time investment that goes into it. That has to be understood. It's something that's seriously underrated. But now we have how we determine the steps. It would be the same thing for the layers, a 2-layer coating. The first layer is paid for, so it's an additional $300 for that additional layer. So now you're at $1,300 for the coating. And this is just if they said, okay, prep it, coat it, and then add an additional layer. And then they can create their own package, but you give them a baseline. Okay, this is what we provide in our first package. These are the things that we go based off of, and this is how you can modify your packages. But you gotta have them packaged and separated out to where they can see them. Otherwise, they're not gonna pick up on what you're saying. Oh my God. Now the last part of the pricing that everybody was really mad at me about, and this is what I told you guys earlier, was I did this thing right where size cost, and this ties back into what I just said about this additional time right here. On a 2-door coupe, yes, it might take you from an hour and a half to 3 hours, depending on how skilled of a detailer you are, to do a paint correction step. And I don't mean a polish, because some polishes, if you're doing a jeweling technique, it'll take you less than an hour. You just go through it, do it very quickly, cover a lot of space, use 5-inch pad, make sure you get everything polished up, and you just jewel it. And that means just kind of You're almost lifting the machine off of the vehicle to get that paint shine to just really pop and look like candy. So if you're doing that, obviously it takes a lot less time, but the difference from a two-door coupe to an SUV, or even from a two-door coupe to a sedan, it's a major difference. You know, there's two whole door panels that are added on extra for a four-door car. You know, it's not what you do. So this was our base price, so there is no additional fee. But for a four-door, I said there's an additional $200 because of this size. And then here we have a crossover or a two-door truck. I'm just gonna go ahead and cross that out because it really doesn't even make a difference here. It's $300, and it's $400 for a four-door pickup. And if it's like a 3/4 ton or an SUV, what the heck am I doing here? Yeah, then it's an additional $500 to the final price. Yeah, so everybody got mad at me for this part, and I don't really understand it. You know, there's the time. You have to understand the time investment. Your business is losing money if you're not accounting for the time that you're investing alongside the materials. And yes, I understand not wanting to charge somebody an eyeball or a freaking arm and a leg, but that is not what you're doing. This is a luxury service. You have to understand this. And you provide value in different ways. That's why value cannot be left out of the conversation. Different clients value different things. So even though this is good things to take into account, it's not financial advice. I'm not telling you this is how you have to set it up for your business to work. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying use this as a baseline to really separate out your costs and to actually be able to show your client, look, this is where the money is going. Because any of this gets taxed. And yes, I know a lot of people disagree with putting the 33% away, but if you put those 33% away and you take account of all your expenses throughout the year, you're reporting that to the IRS, then maybe you won't have a lot of that extra spending room throughout the year. But when that year is over and your taxes are paid, if you didn't spend this entire 33% to pay those taxes, then you're gonna have an additional budget for that next year. You know what I mean? So if you save 33%, you put that away for taxes every single month, and at the end of the year, you only ended up paying 15% of your total income in taxes, then you have a whopping 18% of that left over. 18% of 100 grand is equal to $18,000. So you have this extra amount of money that you can spend whenever the taxes are filed if you just go that extra mile to take care of all your taxes. And if you don't, then you're not in debt. You know, you don't have to come up with the extra money to pay the IRS for all that. And take into account, this guy that I did this budget for, his business is making or averaging 210. So those additional 15 or 18% actually comes out to, I don't know, about 38. I want to say approximately 38,000 in additional funds, just because you put that extra time aside and you handle your expenses the way that you were supposed to handle them. You priced everything appropriately. Now you don't have to worry about anything. The thing is, we're not worried about how much money you're spending, how much money you're making. We're worried about what the customer is thinking. If you want to get your marketing straight, you have to understand, you have to enter the conversation in the client's head. You have to get into the conversation that is going on in their mind. You know, there might have been a couple of clients, and I'm going to get away from the whiteboard at this point. I'm just going to preach for a little bit, because I feel like this is very important. Get away from that. There will be a lot of clients who literally all they want to do is spend more money. Some people actually just want to spend more money. I want to go with the most expensive person because that is the frame that they fit. I go with the most expensive service, you know. My phone's going off, sorry y'all. not everybody wants the most expensive service. Some people just want the best deal. Some want the cheapest service. So you have to understand where you fit in this frame, okay? I can't preach for long. I need to see what's going on. Sorry, y'all. I'm gonna upload this, and then once it's uploaded, I'll let everybody in on it.